Right, I need to make a link and just let people know that this is happening. So I'm going to stick it on Facebook. And it's late, so I've got to be quite quiet. But I think you can hear me because the mic's here. And levels are good, I hope. Let me just say here, live now. Come and join. So that's something at least. And of course, if you're on the channel, then you'll see a notification, and I should get the information about the chat here. How does this work? Oh yeah, okay. Still getting used to this streaming stuff. And let me just check how that's looking on here. Yeah, it's good. I think. So how can I see these chats? Oh, here we go. Tednos. How you doing? Thanks for joining. I've got one camera on the keyboard. Obviously the other camera on me desktop should be on Ableton if I stay here. And yeah, I've got this plugin, boy, here's the thing. It's a new release from Native Instruments, and it's called Prime Bass. And it's a library of bass sounds, really nicely put together, that sits within Contact. So I've loaded up an instance of Contact. I've got it loaded here, and I'm using the melody version. There are two versions. You can see that on the left-hand side. So you've got Prime Bass Melody and then Prime Bass. And one of these has got kind of like sequenced bass patterns that have been performed, and they're very authentic sounding. But I don't want to use someone else's kind of pre-chorus loop. So what I'm going to do is just going to play around and play some stuff in. I've also got these disco loops. There's a whole bunch of these, and I've got this just repeating. I don't know how loud this is going to be relative to the voice. So this will be a good test. So there's a disco loop playing. Just let me know if you can hear the voice still whilst it's playing. That would be useful. Maybe I'll just turn this down a bit. And then here is, let me just move over. I generally have to kind of like play with two hands. So I was wondering about doing like a kind of a disco kind of vibe. So maybe something like that. But already this is just like, it's a wicked bass patch actually. I might go through some of the examples, switch it around once I've got the bass in. Okay, I'm just going to record something in. Okay, something in there might be of use. Just going to take this off. We'll come back to the plugin fairly soon. Just going to check, see if there's anyone speaking here. Okay, so Brian Chamberlain, shout to you. How are you doing? Who else do we have? Anthony Coptic. Thanks for joining. And Tedmas, no, I don't have any drum sample packs. I've considered doing that, but I just don't have enough time at the moment. I'm focusing in my spare time in the evenings on the productions, mainly, and trying to get some of the video content done when I can. It's tricky, generally it's cases of just getting pockets of time when I can do it. So yeah, I don't have enough time to put together a sample library at the moment. So Creative, thanks for joining. Cooley as well, thanks for joining. So what I'm trying to do here is basically experiment and put together a little disco vibe. It's not my usual kind of thing, but when I started listening to this plugin, and I've got to confess, one of the things about this is Native Instruments send me stuff, right, for free. There's no kind of like fee that they pay me. There's no kind of advertising deal here. And they send me stuff, and the only time that I'm going to feature it is if I like it, and I really, genuinely love the sound of this thing. So I've been playing around with it basically, but I want to see if I can get a disco vibe. I've been using it for some other things. It's fantastic. But I wanted to see if I could do disco, because it's not my usual thing. So this is it. It's a new instrument. I just recorded some stuff in there. I'm not sure how good that was. I'm just going to take it maybe about, I don't know, over here. I think it was that groove. And I haven't quantized this, so it's got this kind of deliberately kind of loose feel. Let's call this bass line. Now I've got it in, I'm just going to check out some of the presets. There are different kind of voices here, and I'm still getting used to this, by the way. So I think it's a case of, right, sound preset, here we go through these. So that was the direct signal. That was called out of the box. Let's try some of these others. So we've all got different tones. There are some amp simulators, and in fact, this is a brand new version of Contact. There's an update recently that's got new amp simulators in there, and this is actually M1 native as well. So I'm running with Ableton Live in the M1 native version, and this is a plugin that runs in M1 native too. Something about that one I really like. Just going to come back to that. Oh yeah, one of the things about this is we've got these. So that's nice, maybe at the end of certain sections. Like, so for example, if I take this, just gonna, sorry, I'm just randomly clicking on things here and forgetting some of my keyboard shortcuts for some reason, but it's late. Let me just quickly crop this. This, I'm going to essentially double the length. So duplicate, that's here. And I'm going to put that in towards the end probably. Let's have a look. Okay, let me take out some of these because, where is it? It's down low, isn't it? Let me bring this down. Just put the headphones on so we can hear that. There we go. And let me just mute this one. Okay, so that happens. The cycle is too short. I need to kind of extend that. That's more of a kind of at the end of bar 8 kind of thing. So if I just reinstate the previous ones, what I'll do is instead take all of this, duplicate twice, and then on the last one, let me do that. That's it. All right, here we go. So whilst this is playing, Tedmas, music is not what I do full time for a living. Let me just listen to this. Yeah, that's quite cool at the end. So yeah, no, it's an evening thing for me. I have a day job. Luckily, I work in music and technology, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. So I'm very happy with that. Okay, so creative, love the old school garage production. Spend a night, yeah. You know, it's been a great song for me, of course. I made it a long time ago, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've done since. In some respects, I probably prefer. Right, so Lil Seth, let me just show you. The plugin is Contact, and it's a new library, and this is called Prime Bass from Native Instruments, and it's a incredibly well sampled bass guitar. And so just been going through some of the presets, and I wanted to see if I could get a kind of disco vibe. The drum loop is like an old disco loop. So I'll leave that running, and what I might do is create a new track. And this time I'm going to go for complete control as a plugin, because I think now the bass is grooving, which I think it sounds fantastic. I'm just going to take a look. So I'm just loading up an instrument here. By the way, that was the Arturia, and that's the stage. Where are we? Let me just get this now. You see it. Stage 73, which is a really nice electric piano. Let me just say here, electric piano. I need to pick the section that I liked there. And let me just pick up on some of these comments. So Andre Sula. Cool Cloud. So I've got the Korg bundle that I bought a while ago. So I've got most of those Korg instruments that I purchased, but I didn't know they had a cloud service. So I'm assuming that's like a subscription thing. Let me just do here. And let's just pick the best out of all of that. Maybe halfway. Okay, I don't know if this is really that disco-y, but I'll just keep going with it. We'll see. Maybe it needs some strings, and there are some good ones. Maybe it needs some congas. Yeah, maybe that's what it needs. Let me think about this. So in the content library, there's some percussion in the factory library. And in fact, actually, which one is it? It's the drum lab. Let me just get here. Actually, claps, disco claps. Let me look. No, not a moment. Let me try something different. I wanted to use congas. This, in fact, seems to be individual instruments. I want to get a kit that has the congas in there. Let's just keep going up kits. Percussion. I think somewhere here. I'm trying to remember actually now. So, single instruments. Drum lab, it was here, I think. Just wait for this to load. Let's try again. I think I need to find one of the kits that has the percussion on it. I can see bongos here. A little bit too much space on there. Where are we? Somewhere here there's the effects. Where was it? Okay, reverb, let's take that down. Okay, let's see. Okay, couple more questions. Yeah, so Lucid Grooves. Ableton is my preferred DAW these days. I'm using it the most, for sure. I just find I can get ideas up and running really quickly. Jelly Jokes fan, do you find you're more decisive and productive? Oh yeah, absolutely. I think having limited time does make a big difference. I think if I get given all the time in the day to do something, I will take all the time in the day to do something. So for me, just getting a window, I mean, I've got family responsibilities and everything. So like when people are asleep, that creates an opportunity. It doesn't happen every night, but sometimes I've got the energy to do it. So that means I have an hour or two, and that's super focused, and I really get in there. So, what do we got here? Okay, I did mention strings, right? I was going to try and do some strings. So we set up a new MIDI track, and just to keep it clear in terms of the decisions I'm making here, so you don't miss out on stuff by using the keyboard, I'll just do selections here. And we have some really great string libraries, session strings, fulls. These would be very disco-y. Let's just wait for these to load. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get that in. Okay, let's get that in. Just let that run for a bit. And then maybe about now. Oh, okay, yeah, Andre, yeah, the Rolling Cloud. I've looked into it, but so here's the thing, right? I've got a lot of the analog stuff through the Arturia collection, so the kind of the vintage keyboards. It's all pretty much covering all the bases. I'm a big fan of the Roland JV 1080 and 2080. I used to have the hardware way back, but I did some reading up, and the consensus seems to be that there's something quite kind of missing in terms of the Roland Cloud sound. I'd love to hear an argument that says against this, because I'd like to get a justification for actually getting involved and using it. And I was reading, I think it was on where was it, Gearspace, and there were a bunch of people saying that there's something to do with the right or left side of the samples that they've taken of the JV series, and how maybe one of the channels was out of phase, so there was something that was missing in the sound, and I'm sure they would have fixed that by now. But also the whole thing about the JV series was the digital to analog converters that were in the actual boxes, so that made a difference in terms of the sound. I used to have mine plugged in to a mixer, so that whole signal path is really important. So the Roland Cloud versions of the JV 1080, I'm definitely interested, but I should probably try it out and see what it's like, because I love the Korg Triton. I've got that, and I bought that, and that gives me that kind of 90s sound. And yeah, I'd love to check out the Roland stuff, but at the moment I've just got so many plugins. It would take me a lot. It would take a lot to get me to do that, really. But I'm really curious about the 1080. Anthony Coptic, would I consider offering online courses? I mean, look, I taught at Point Blank in Hoxton for over 10 years, so that world is very much a world that I understand, and I helped set up the online school for Point Blank Online, so that world was very much my world. I was very involved in it. It's something that I really enjoyed, but I have a day job, which is a different world, and I'm very engaged in that, and I really enjoy it. So really there's the development time that's required to put together an online course is huge, and I just don't have that time. I need to focus on making music, and also just doing occasional videos as and when I can these days. I just don't have enough time to put out a huge amount of videos, but if I didn't have a day job, absolutely I would be putting together online courses for sure. But anyway, let's have a look. What else do I need? This is sounding so corny, but it's good fun. So I'm thinking about some other strings, some sustained strings. Maybe just a sustained thing. I mean, really, honestly, I knew this wasn't going to work out. It's sounding really corny. String, let's do this now. But it's a good experiment. The main thing here is that bass sounds wicked, right? The bass instrument, it's so good. Let's get this sustained string, see how it goes. Okay, maybe I'll use those three, so I'm going to start again. Okay, so let me just go in there. It was the second lot. So really, I'm kind of using Ableton as a bit of a sketch pad. I need to quantize those and get those on the beat. Okay. You know what I might do? Let me just go and check some comments, by the way. Yeah, child coughing in the background. Yeah, unfortunately, she's not feeling brilliant at the moment. Alexandra Roca, Disco House. Yeah, I mean, what I could do, I could actually kind of try and house it up. Let me consider what I'm going to do. So if I take, let me just move the disco over to the left, the beat. Let's take all of these elements, turn them into a group, and then I will process these. So what am I going to do? Let me have a think. Well, the obvious choice is going to be one of these. So what I could do is I could take that loop, EQ the bass out of that, and then bring on a drum rack. This could be quite interesting. So we put in some kind of like, maybe even an 808. Let me just have a look at this. So that's working. Maybe I'll take the bongos out of that group. Let me get that looping properly. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to take the electric piano out. That's interesting. Just take this screw and do something with it. So there's something about having those musical elements that I played in and running them through a filter that creates almost like a kind of bed in the background that starts to make this feel a bit more kind of coherent. What I might be inclined to do is to take that group and run a phaser as a return effect. So if I go here, this is named delay, but there's no delay on there. If I get, let's go to the Fraser Flanger, Ableton's built-in effect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this as a send and return. The reason is because I've got the bass running here. I don't want the bass to be phasing. So if I take this and run an EQ on it, let's just do a bit of a chop down here. Let me just see what's going on here. I'm not really feeling that at the moment. And what it is because the frequency is quite low. Let me just bring the center up. And actually, we're not hearing so much of that because of the way the filter's here. You can hear the phaser coming into effect now. So actually, maybe what I need to do is consider putting the piano back into the group, taking the sustained string out, having that running through the phaser instead. I'll do that. Let's take this off. Yeah, and that's got that real kind of 70s, the Warriors kind of vibe to it. A little bit too much motion going on there. I'll take the feedback down a bit. And maybe just slow the rate. Down. Just whilst that's kind of vibing there, just come back to a couple of questions. Tedmas using Ableton for any particular reason. I just find it really quick for getting ideas down. I'm not using the push tonight, which is over here. It's just, there's something about it. I used to use that whole kind of linear vibe, kind of like start to end and planning stuff out. But I find Ableton with Session View just allows me to kind of experiment and put ideas down quickly. So that's why. Let's have a listen. So I think what I'm going to do, just to kind of finish off, because I haven't got a lot of time to do this tonight, I'm going to take that groove, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new MIDI track. And I'm going to put complete control on. And this time what I'm going to do is pick, I want to get kind of like a mallet sound. Maybe just kind of really simple vibraphone kind of thing. In which case, the content library, if we go to mallet, let me just try this one. Just wait for it to load. Did I click on that? Yeah, it's loading. Don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe I've removed the library, and maybe this is actually a bug. Sometimes this stuff happens when you're trying to do stuff live. Yeah, for some reason that's not loading. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, I'll use that. It's got a real kind of old school kind of vibe to it, but what I want to do is get a delay. Probably going to ping pong it. The other thing that I'm going to do is listen to the key. And I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to adjust the scale on the keyboard over here. Just to let you know what I've done there. literally what I've got is I've just mapped that to a scale, and I've got a root note of D, and the scale is minor pentatonic. So what's happened is that the keyboard is fixing all of the notes. So that means it kind of sits, and I can just vibe around on top of the backing quite easily. Okay, I cannot stand that string that falls down. That sounds so bad. Where is that? That's in here. I'm going to take that away. It's just driving me nuts. The rest of it could be actually quite a usable little groove. Actually, whilst I'm here, I just want to show you something that's quite interesting. Where is it? So IK Multimedia, they have these tape plugins, these new ones. And actually, what I wanted to do is to go for the Tascam, which is like an old Porter Studio, just for a laugh. So I'm going to run it through this. So anyway, yeah, that was just to really just kind of like vibe it. And yes, there's tons of delay at the moment. It's kind of hard for me because I want to keep my ears out so I can hear what's going on, because there's a sick kid in the house. And then also it's like trying to do this at the same time. It's tricky. The feedback's too long. Yeah, that's for sure on that delay. And what it does is that if you have too much delay, obviously it takes the focus away from the actual the sound itself. But sometimes I quite like big delays to kind of create a kind of trippy, kind of clubby sense. I'm actually, on reflection, listening back to this now, there's definitely a groove that works there. And, I just want to come back to the kind of core essence of this whole session, really, which is about this plugin, the prime bass, and that's the foundation of this. And yeah, that running through that tape I think sounds wicked. It really kind of makes it a bit more vintage, and it's not my usual kind of style, but I think it works. It was a good experiment. So it's a wicked bass plugin. Like I said, I've been using it on some other things. I've been quite fussy when it comes to these kind of bass plugins. And for me, this one is the best, definitely. All the things that I've done with it. And many years ago, I remember getting, when I was working at Point Blank, playing around with Trillion from Spectrasonics, which is a really great bass plugin. And I always used to think, I'd really like to get that. And for me, this is, apart from the fact it doesn't do all the synth plugins, synth instruments for bass, for electric bass, this thing just to me sounds like the best thing at the moment. So definitely recommend it if you want that kind of real electric bass. So I think that's it. And thanks for joining me. Okay, all right. Have a good rest of the week. Just got to work out how to turn this thing off now. I'm so the inexperienced streamer. But here we go. All right, take care.